Our next section is looking at attributes of all functions. So when I'm talking about all functions in Algebra 1, we specifically look at linear, exponential, and quadratic. So this is just keywords here to help you understand or comprehend when we're talking about x-intercepts. So these are all synonyms. We have the acronym ROX, which is basically roots, zeros, x-intercepts, and solutions. And essentially, you're just going to find this all the time wherever the graph crosses the x-axis. All right, here is some brief vocabulary to help you see it more in a visual sense. And then y-intercept, of course, just means that whenever the graph is crossing the y-axis, again, in any given type of graph, like the definition is exactly the same. I already worked this one out for you. So basically, the blue has to do everything with x-axis, right, x-intercepts, and the red has everything to do with the y-intercept. So here the x-intercept was -1. So I'm looking specifically that the x is -1, and then the y-intercept is 5. So again, we're looking at that there. Now, this is more vocabulary for quadratic functions. We have the axis of symmetry, which is straight down the middle of the graph. So just think about like, if it was a butterfly, right? If we were to fold it, or a heart, right? If we were to fold it, it would be the same side, the same on both sides. Here we see the keywords ROX again. A minimum is basically the minimum value, the point at the very bottom. When I'm talking about maximum, we're talking about the point at the very top. So the graph would actually be flipped upside down. The vertex represents the point at the very middle, whether it's at the very bottom or at the very top. And then, of course, y-intercept is still the same. So we have this graph here. So again, the keyword here, the graph of a quadratic function is shown on the grid. What is the y-intercept? So the y-intercept, from what we just saw, is basically where it crosses the y-axis. I am giving these other 3 points that are labeled. That's always there to be able to trick you. Again, if I'm looking for my y-intercept, I have to remember that my y-intercept is found right on my x-axis. So I'm looking for the point that crosses the x-axis, so I see that it lands right here. And the point for that is 4, or the actual number value. This is a numerical response, so in your keypad